This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet.
We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Adam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on.
He likes it.
It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right, Peter G Show right here, Wednesday, still here, haven't burned up yet, God willing. Welcome. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, or who will be tuning in, or who will be listening in the future. Very grateful. Still here. The winds are blowing like crazy outside in Southern California. It's funny because Pacific Palisades, which got wiped out off, totally eviscerated off the map, has calm winds, but I happen to be in this corridor between LA County and Ventura County, and the winds last night were picking up. I did a little video promo last night, and it was nice and calm, but not too long after that, when the sun starts to come up, everything started coming with it, and you get these big gusts. But I want to thank everybody who's called me and texted me throughout the past week, because it's been, is it more than a week now? Yeah, it's over a week since we've been going through this wind and fire hell, and concerned, and I appreciate it, and thank you very much. I love you guys, and I tell you that a million times, but I couldn't mean it more than ever, because I've had my share of these fires. In 2019, it literally burned right up to my property. And then there was another one. There was one in I've had several. I've had several. Oh, and again, with the winds, people are going, "Are you okay?" And it's like, you don't have to be right near the fire for something to happen. You could be 20 miles away, and if the winds are blowing, all it takes is some idiot to start a fire, and they do. Or let's say, and it's happened in the past, a car has a problem on the side of the freeway, and somehow or another it catches fire and sparks or something like that, and then there's brush right off the sides of the freeway, all that dry brush, and boom, there it goes. Things like that. And once a fire starts, depending on the way the wind's blowing, depends on who's going to get it. And those flames, and it eats up that brush real quick. It can travel miles in minutes, and the embers fly quarter of a mile, half a mile away, still hot, touch other things, and then it just roller coasters, snowballs. But so far, still here. And thank you for, again, the ones who've chimed in, written to me, and things like that. Again, everybody has their, fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. What do you want? Floods. Pick your poison. Hopefully, it's very sad, though. Say prayers for those who've lost their homes and those who have lost their lives. There's two major fires, right? The Pacific Palisades, which is pretty much not much left over there to burn, which is over 48,000 acres. It's bigger than the size of Manhattan. And I remember many years ago in the 90s that the Santa Monica Mountains burned the size of Manhattan. But those were up in the mountains, and at least it was a lot less. There weren't people living there. A few, but not like it went down to the water, wiped out. You've seen the pictures. It's horrific. It doesn't seem possible. We're going to talk about that tonight. Again, I'm constantly changing my plans for what's going on, because there's so much going on. Hope you'll stay tuned and join me. I might open up the phone, hear your thoughts on these fires, if you choose. But yeah, that's what we're basically going to do tonight, because it's a big deal. A lot of change coming, a lot of tragedy, a lot of change. It's inevitable. But first things I want to talk about real quick before I even get into that. Please, I appreciate all those that are watching, and I know that more of you watch than follow. I mean, you're watching, but you don't hit the follow button. I know it. It's a fact. It's probably 3 times the amount, maybe 4. And I'm guilty of that kind of stuff myself. I watch a lot of things, and I watch a lot of things periodically, again and again, like the same person or something like that. And I'm guilty of not saying, you know what, I should follow him. Just help a brother out. I need you to hit those buttons. Subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, the official Peter G Show page, by the way. If you're going to comment, which I invite you to comment when we're live, but if you want me to see those comments, if I can, depending on how many they are, sometimes I miss them. Can't read them all. But if you are going to comment, I need you to comment on the official Facebook Peter G Show page so I can see the comments live in front of me. I need you, if you're watching from YouTube, the official Peter G Show YouTube page, and please hit the subscribe button, please. They are killing me. They are really shadow banning me, and TikTok's the where I'll get into that in a week or so, but I swear they take down a video of mine, and then I'll appeal it, and they reverse the strike, and they say, okay, we're sorry, we're putting it back up there, but I know they're screwing with me because they don't let that video be seen very much, because you can just tell nobody's looking at it because they don't see it to look at it. So it's a mind screw. They let the video be shown, but they won't let it be shown, if that makes any sense. They're the worst. Instagram's getting really good. I'm seeing a lot of things about the old vaxxerini and COVID and things like that. People coming out with the truths, and they're blatantly talking about things which I really want to talk about. I do, because that was a big deal to me. Because you know why? Because there's lots of controversy on whether you believe in it or not believe in it. People are still getting sick from this, and the proof is coming out. But they're not holding back. They're letting go, and that's really nice. I'm good to see that. However, I can't get arrested on Instagram. So please, if you see my shorts on Instagram, just hit the follow button, all right? I don't know what the deal is. I don't worry about it, but I try to make an effort at it. I can't see why I do really well on this, but I don't do well on that. But yet they're watching. People are watching. They're just not hitting the follow button. So please, help a brother out. Like I said, it's important, because now I'm up at a point with this show that the business end of these people that are watching, that could take me to another level. They want to see, let's see the numbers. How are your numbers looking? It's like, well, this one's good, this one's not so good. Well, they don't understand that. And I go, well, I know that we're doing better than we are. It just doesn't show in the numbers. But please, if you'll invest in me and put me out there, they don't want to hear that. They want you to already be big, whatever. I don't care. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'll never stop. I'll do this show. I've said it many times, under a bridge if I have to, because it's costing. However, I'm okay with that. I have a passion, and here we are. So thank you for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, tonight, every Wednesday, like clockwork, God willing. I'm really glad that we still had electricity and everything too, because they've cut power, and just like 3 blocks away, there's traffic lights that are out. They're not working. They haven't worked in 2 days. So we're here every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. That is East. If you're sitting in my seat, that's East. Depends how you look at it. But I appreciate you, so thank you. All right, I want to mention to you, no comments yet. Okay, it's all right. If you do want to comment and you are watching from some of these places, hey, Peter, tell me what city, state you're in. I like knowing where people are watching from. I'm still trying to infiltrate, still lots of places that are in the dark. Peter who? And I get it. I want to talk about real quick. I mentioned last week about Jimmy Carter's passing. Former President Jimmy Carter passed away, and the controversy over him. Some people thinking he was a great president. Some people think he was one of the worst presidents ever to be president up until recently. But the next day, I think it was last Friday, was his funeral. And I got to show you this stuff just to show you the how hypocritical like politics are and all that. Because all the former sitting presidents that are still alive attended Jimmy Carter's attended Jimmy Carter's funeral. And it's just crazy to me how, again, before the election, Vegas, let's put you up there for being the first. There you go. Jeff, thank you, brother. Vegas. Love Vegas. I hate Vegas. I don't know how to take it, I don't mind when I have tons of money to blow and don't care, but I hate when they take my money. They take my money. Vegas has gotten expensive. But thank you for posting. All right. Follow by example, folks. Speak up. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of people that go, Peter, I wanted to call you, but I was nervous. I get nervous, and it's like, you're on the phone. Who cares? Who cares if you're sitting in your jammies or your underwear talking to me on the show? I don't want to know any more than that. But the thing is, I want you to participate. This is what it's all about. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this opportunity to give you. I just do my stuff and wouldn't have it available, but I do. So take advantage of it. Speak your mind. Again, tonight we're going to talk about the fires. And if I open up the phones, I want to hear your 2 cents because I question everything. And we'll get into that. But back to the politics. So while everybody's campaigning for a president and all that, they're just punching each other in the nuts. Bad. He's Hitler. Joe Biden's, doesn't have any cognitive, he's not there, which was the truth, though, still is. But yet they go to this funeral, and I'm going to play a video for you right now. This one's kind of narrated. Some girl just did this, but I want you to see. She does an okay job. It kind of spells the whole plot of who really is friends. During the election, Kamala and Obama, like they're all buddies. Hey, Michelle, and we love you too. It's like, I promise you, they're not speaking to each other. They don't like each other. But what they won't do for politics blows my mind. Blows my mind. I hate politics. I hate politicians. I hate all of that. But yet I need to talk about it because it's important. There we go. Number 2. That's right. Faithful. Say you get one of the gold stars. What's up? Pensacola in the house. Love Pensacola. Love the Gulf Coast. Love my friends and family. Forever. Been good to me. But the politics of this game, and people buy into it. You really believe it. You got to stop believing what they show you on TV. You just got to. And again, I'm telling you, you don't have to believe me, but I put information out there for you to take in and then do your own thinking. Think about it. I hope I'm helping some people to question things because it's a dirty business. And we, the people, have fallen behind. It was supposed to be for the people, and it's not for us anymore. Hopefully it's going to turn around and change, but nothing's going to happen overnight. But you have to start realizing that we have a voice, and don't think that they care about us and it's in our best interest what they do for us, because it's not. It's in their best interest, and it's been proven. If you'll just allow me to show you bits and pieces every week when I don't have a guest. And I haven't had guests lately because there's so much going on. I want you to know this stuff. At least I can say I tried. But here, check out this at former President Jimmy Carter's funeral and all as they come walking in and what's really going on. I mean, look at their faces. I mean, it's plain as day. Plain as day. Enjoy.
This Jimmy Carter funeral is giving so much high school drama vibes. First off, we've got our girl Melania and Donald Trump arriving. Now, Mike Pence is going to give Donald Trump a strong handshake, as well as Melania Trump. But she about to get snubbed by Mrs. Pence, and she got a nasty look on her face when she do it. Now, Camilla and Doug get there, and she's not giving everybody the warm greeting that I was really expecting, okay? This man supposedly helped out with her campaign. They're BFFs, so why the cold shoulder? Ooh, yee. Now, we got another cold shoulder for Jill. They actually turn apart. They turn. Let's watch that again, okay? Oh, there's the turn. Not good. Now, Joe Biden, he's scratching his eyebrow, and then he looks up to the heavens because he knows that he's probably going to be going somewhere on the other side soon. Now, JWB shows up, gives Obama a little love tap, show they friends, they homies. The Bushes themselves actually get quite a warm greeting from Mike Pence, Democrat Mike Pence, and Al Gore. Now, Trump and Obama, they snicker in a little bit, okay, like two schoolgirls. But the real schoolgirl here is Camilla. When she turns her head and she sees that those two are, like, getting along, woo, that look of jealousy on her face is like her high school crush likes another girl now, you know? She opening her book trying to look like she's busy. Then, of course, there's Joe Biden taking a nap. But he's been taking a nap for the last 4 years, so what do we expect? Now, Obama, he's looking around. He's like, Michelle, where you at? Guess what? She in Hawaii on vacation. She ain't showing up anytime soon. Bill Clinton's face, he's looking like he's lost all political control. And guess what? So does JWB. He looking around. He looking a little scared, you know? Oh, what's going to happen now that Trump's in office? The main event here. We got Hunter Biden scratching his nose. What a time to be alive. Oh, well, not Jimmy Carter.
In her own little characteristic way, she speaks the truth. Look at their faces. You can watch this show on demand anytime. You can pull these clips. You can, just fast forward it, watch it again. But I'll help you out a little bit more. I put together just a real quick little synopsis of the whole deal, and look at them. I mean, just look at the sour pusses, and then look at Trump and Obama just chuckling it up. So I'll get into this in a second, but here, it's real quick. Check it out. Video don't lie, folks. Did you see the stink eye that Obama and Trump were looking at Kamala? She wouldn't turn around, say hello, nothing. They both were just giving her the stink. And then at this last piece of the clip, it's like Obama, they're sitting there talking. Trump has this amazing ability that no matter who even the enemy is, he can talk to them. Because don't forget, folks, Obama was campaigning for Kamala, calling Trump Hitler and a threat to democracy. They all were. And yet, there they are, chumming it up. So I guess he can't be that bad. Think about it. Think about it. It's all an act. They just wanted to win. It didn't matter. They cover each other, they smear each other and shit, and then when it's all, they go back. I used to think about that when I was going through my divorce too, because when I was going through my divorce, I spent more time in court than any person, human being, should, unfortunately. And these lawyers, they're battling, the defense and prosecution or whatever, and then the judge, and then then they go in the back room and, they all went to law school together. They're all friends. It's a game. It's a money grab game. And they're like, look, this one's out of money. We need things. They drag it out. It's like, and then all of a sudden it's like they're running out of money. We need to wrap this up. And all of a sudden everything comes to a, conclusion. But in the meantime, it's an act. I hate it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's lawyers that are there for a reason. There's a lot of good lawyers and great lawyers. But it's a game. It's a governmental game. The system, social services and therapists, and this is about divorce and things like that. You know, even criminal, all the same thing. It's a money grab. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. So don't tell me on those videos that you know, they're sitting there talking and Obama's, you know, smiling and chuckling and they're leaning into each other. It's like, okay, yeah, he must be a real horrible human being. Must be a real. I want to get into that too. Next week, his inauguration is next Monday, so we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. Providing I don't have any more emergency things to talk about, like the California wildfires, because that's worth talking about right now, because there's a lot of coincidental things going on that I still don't buy it. I just don't. But what do I know? But I'm hoping that you'll help me out and pay attention, and maybe I'll hear your thoughts too. But right now, here's what I want to do. We need to take a quick break and hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver, because let's face it, folks, it makes sense to save money. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Thompson of CleanStarProducts.com. This is DX1 Driver in the news, and here's what our friends have to say.
So I'm here to recap on the DX1 I've used. I put it in the oil and I put it in the gas. While I'm using it just for about 3 tanks. Cleaned everything out. I got every ounce of power back in my truck.
When Jared's truck was new, it had a lot of power. Then over time, it began to slow down. He got it all back with our DX1 Driver program.
Something you got to see for yourself. It's a great product. It's affordable. And it blows all the other additives and esters out of the water.
DX1 Driver is the finest oil in the world from a California environmental company. It goes into the fuel system and the oil. It's the only green grade product qualified for the carbon credits program, giving you better fuel mileage, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. So join the fuel savings revolution today. Go to CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right. Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. 2 words for you. It works. I use it myself. I wouldn't have believed it because, again, I'm thinking, you know, there's a million products out there. I've done stuff, never really noticed a difference, but I can honestly tell you it does work. Cleans out your engine, takes all that sludge and all that stuff out of there, lets it work more lubricity, makes everything work better, smoother, less friction, improves gas mileage, horsepower, all the above, therefore saving you money. And I've noticed all of that when I'm using it. But don't believe me. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to their website, www.cleanstarproducts.com, and there's a phone number on their website. I want you to call that phone number, because if you have questions, they want to answer your questions personally, all right? And there's a reason for that, because they believe in their product, they know it works, but I know you'll have questions. And after you talk to them, should you decide to order, here's the most important part. You mentioned that you saw it on the Peter G Show. That's right. Because why? Good question again. Because if you mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show, they will send you 5 bottles for the price of 4. That's right, 5 bottles for the price of 4. It's a deal. It works because, again, take the 1 bottle, you put 1 bottle here. It's a little bitty bottle. Let's say you have a regular sedan. This is the bottle size amount that you put in if you have a regular little, 4-door car. You put this in a clean oil change. Boom. Put it in there. It lasts the whole oil change. Then every time you fill up your tank, you just put one of these little bottles in the tank. It mixes with the gas, and there you go. If you have a large truck or SUV, here's the other bottle. This is a bigger bottle. This is what I use right here, a bigger car. But they're not much difference in size. It is bigger, but it's not a whole lot bigger. All right? And it works. I'm telling you, you get those 5 bottles for the price of 4, that should pretty much make you a believer, because the one in the crankcase and then 4 tanks of gas, and you should be feeling a difference. And then keep the periodic maintenance. Put, at least do once or twice a month, every other gas tank. It's worth it. I noticed I got better gas mileage. I didn't have to step on my pedal as much to get the car to go, therefore saving gas. It works. Call them. Go to their website, www.cleanstarproducts.com. Call that number on their website. Ask all the questions you want, and then order. make sure you tell them that you saw it on the Peter G Show so you can get the 5 bottles for the price of 4. All right? Again, they know what I do and they still sponsor me, so God bless them. Okay. Oh, while we were on commercial break, I realized I forgot one thing here. Two little things. This morning, they announced that Hamas and Israel was going to finally come to a ceasefire. Finally. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal. It needs to stop. All these wars need to stop. However, Joe Biden was quick to come on and address the United States, address the nation, to say that thanks to his hard work of months and months of tireless negotiation, that's why there's going to be the ceasefire and the hostages are going to be returned. Well, I got news for you. It wasn't that. But I can't blame him for trying to take credit. He's always been that way, and he'll lie to you till the day he dies, which is not too far off. But Trump, all of you that remember, he says if those hostages aren't returned by the time he takes office, all hell is going to break loose. And lo and behold, 5 days before he takes office, they announce they're going to have a ceasefire, and everybody's going to be all returned because they don't want to mess with him because they know he's serious as hell. The way our current administration should have been from day one. But they weren't. Don't believe me? Here. Listen to my friend Tim Kramer. He definitely knows and tells it like it is.
Meet Brian Krasenstein. Brian's a moron.
Breaking. Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire deal in Gaza. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Biden, you guys didn't even think he was competent enough to run for office. You cooed him. And now you're thanking him that he's done something? Joe ain't there. Joe's got dementia. The reason those hostages are being freed is because the orange dude said, if you don't free them, all hell's gonna break loose. That's why they're free. Like I said, Brian Krasenstein is a moron.
Thank you, Tim Kramer. Couldn't have said it better myself. He always has he says it like it is, right to the point. The truth, the truth, the truth. They didn't want to question whether Trump was going to follow through what he says because they know he will. It's that simple. And that's a good leader. Let's stop this nonsense. Let me remind you, there's American hostages, if they're still alive, that are being held as well. So, and lastly, for this, before we get onto the fires, right before this show started, our glorious leader to the free world, or kind of free world, what's left of it, the United States, Joe Biden gave his farewell address. And I got to tell you, even in that farewell address, I mean, I guess you can't blame him. He's going to go down sticking to his story, but just still lied his way all the way to the end of how great a job and all these backhanded compliments about, what's about to happen. And, but it's all the good stuff's due to him. And for those of you who want to believe that, I know in the beginning you thought that Trump was rough and he was a horrible human being to some of you and this and that, but you never really understood him because the media painted such a horrendous picture of him and you bought into it. And I get it. They sold it well because they were in cahoots. It was all the media propaganda, which never happened to this degree in the United States, but it has. And that's why they're going down in flames. But the truth is he's not all that bad. Yes, he's tough, but he's not all that bad. And you'll be figuring it out as these next 4 years roll into place. Nothing's going to happen overnight. So you diehard, Orange Man haters, I don't care what you say. I'm sick of it. You talk nonsense. Okay, nothing's going to happen tomorrow. Your groceries aren't going to drop from, eggs aren't going to go from whatever they are, a dozen, $7 a dozen to, back down to $1.89. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen because he's put himself so far out there that I know he's going to make sure he makes a huge difference in this country, in your life, in everyone's lives, to where you say, okay, we were wrong. We were wrong. And we'll all hopefully be alive to witness it. And the gift that keeps on giving for our children, restructuring, getting rid of all this corrupt government that is concerned about nobody but themselves. They're lining their pockets at our expense. And I said it, and I don't care, and I will continue to say it because, once again, it's the truth. All right, let's take a quick sip here. Say a prayer for all these people in the fires and things like that. It's bad, and those who've lost their lives on top of it. Smooth. I have a lot to be thankful for, even when everybody who thinks, I don't have anything, I'm harder, you don't realize until you see and have worse that happens to you. And it's bad. It's bad. These people have lost everything, now a lot of these people were fairly wealthy, but in that whole area, now there's two different major fires. There's the Altadena fire, which is right up on the upside of Pasadena, which is miles away, the other side. And that's all rural. Like, I'm sure there's horses there too and things like that, but a whole different area. And still it's expensive. Nothing's cheap. California, that's a whole nother show, which I'm getting into also. They're grinding us. They're killing us with fees and taxes and this and that. We have nothing to show for it. We don't even have water, to put out fires because of mismanagement and all this political bullshit. And I'm going to show you some things today. But two different fires, major fires. We had one 2 nights ago that was in Ventura County. Luckily, that was away from a lot of structures, and they managed to take care of that. But anything can happen. I tell my friends when they're saying to me, "Oh man, I'm glad you're okay." It's like, we're not okay until the winds die down, because any idiot can start a fire anywhere that there's winds, and then we're off to the races. Don't know what will happen, which way the wind's blowing, how bad, all the above. But the bottom line was, when the original fire started, this city was not prepared, and they had plenty of warning because they knew these winds were coming. Now, normally our winds are in the spring and in the fall, Santa Ana's and all that. I can't remember ever having this bad a wind in January. I can't. October, November, maybe the front half of December, sure, but never in January, at least not that I can remember. And it's bad. Last week, before last week's show, that Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, it was pretty much, and I've been in hurricanes, it was pretty much 80-mile-an-hour winds that were just nonstop, just pounding. You can't, not only were they not prepared, they didn't, normally our fire department will, when they know, or, they will start setting up stations, like they will send units out to different areas and they will just stay there. They will take hotels in different cities if they have to, to prepare, to have things in place, staging. They didn't have any of that. And they knew this wind was coming. Well, it came. Pacific Palisades has a reservoir that's empty for water. It's been empty since last February. There's a woman that's in charge of all that, and she makes $750,000. I don't know what you do to make that much money in government. And that thing's been empty since February. You would think if you were doing maintenance on a reservoir, same thing like road work. You know how people get pissed off when they're fixing the roads and you're going, why don't they do this stuff at night? Or if you're in a heavy tourist area, it's like, do it off season. Don't do it during tourist season when there's more congestion. For those of you who live in those tourist areas, you know what I mean. Bad planning, bad management. These people make all this money. This woman makes $750,000. That's $750,000 a year to manage reservoirs and water and fire hydrant. It's like, how could you make that much money? What do you do that is so rewarding? And she dropped the ball. So, they all need to go. They all need to just lose their jobs. Our governor, the mayor of Los Angeles, she was in Africa at some party. Somebody was being inaugurated over there or something like that. She promised she wouldn't leave LA or leave the country. I guess she's had other issues. But again, she's got a background that's, how the hell she got into office is because of the Democratic voting. And again, now it's bitten you all in the ass because the same people who you voted for in LA, your houses are all burned down now because they mismanaged all the money. But don't believe me. But we'll talk about it. So let's talk about the fire neglect real quick. This guy is, I like him. I've used him in the past before to talk about it. He's very well versed. The older millennial. I find him a lot on TikTok and other places. But let's start painting the picture of what really went on, okay? So the LA fires, here you go.
Hey, look, just real quick, for all of you in California dealing with these wildfires, I want you to know that without a doubt, 100%, this is the fault of the Democrats you elected. Because there are 4 actions taken by the Democrats that are directly responsible for why you're enduring this wildfire. The first being your state stopped clearing the brush. They didn't want to spend state money anymore on maintaining and clearing the brush that starts these wildfires. And they figured they would save money by not doing it. And then after the wildfire, they would get federal funding to take care of all the emergency stuff. They have just decided that it's cheaper on the state to not prevent them from happening. And after they happen, use federal FEMA funds to take care of it. Reason number 2 why you're enduring these wildfires is your mayor in LA decided to cut firefighter funding by $17.5 million. Now, it's less than what she wanted to cut. She wanted to cut $23 million. But yeah, she cut $17.5. Oh, and she took that money plus an additional $4 million and spent it on taking care of illegal immigrants. See, the mayor of LA decided to spend $21.8 million taking care of those people. And she was able to get most of that money from the fire department. Lastly, our government has taken money from fire departments all throughout the United States and spent them fully equipping and fully funding 16 Ukrainian fire departments. Those fire departments have reported to international media that they are fully equipped and ready for any emergency. So if you're wondering why you're dealing with these wildfires, it's because your fucking state stopped clearing the brush. Your mayor in LA cut $17.5 million of your funding and spent all that money on illegal immigrants. And all around the country, we've taken money from fire departments to make sure Ukraine is fully equipped for any emergency. Thank God it's less than 2 weeks till we have to stop dealing with this dumb shit. Except for those of you in California, you re-elected the Democrats, so enjoy that.
No, I didn't. I already know they suck. They all need to go. I mean, Gavin Newsom, again, he's all about himself. His $9 million house he just bought on a $250,000 a year paycheck. And you guarantee that ain't going to burn. It's a lot of conniving crap going on. California has taken so much money and not done anything for California. It's an amazing state. But I've had it. All they keep doing is looking. They go, we need more money. We need more money. And they don't do anything with it. It just disappears. I raised hell about all the money that's gone away, over the past, between they had billions, 24 billion to take care of the homeless. They can't account for that money. And the homeless has increased instead of decreased. We got scammed on the unemployment checks. People from jail were submitting and collecting money. I mean, it was just, they lost 11 or 12 billion dollars to unemployment fraud. It's just stupidity. I can go on and on. And now they're jacking up our gasoline again. He wants another 65 to 85 cents a gallon just for taxes. Bought gas the other day again. It was still $4 a gallon right now. And I'm just waiting. It's going to go up because they're trying to make you not drive gasoline cars. And then where's that gas tax? More gas tax, as if we didn't pay enough gas tax. We pay on average $1.50 more a gallon than the rest of the United States. Something's got to give. We have great weather, okay? And we're paying for it, believe me. It's getting old, though. It's getting real old. People cannot afford to live here. So the Pacific Palisades got wiped out. A lot of rich people there. Maybe they have multiple homes, but nobody wants to lose their homes. It burned all the way down to the ocean. And now, but there's plenty of people who don't have money. That was their house. It's been paid for. They've lived there for 50 years. Let's talk about the California fire relief and things like that. Here's the millennial, one more time, older millennial, speaking about how they're taking care of things or are going to take care of things, because it's not good. But check this out.
So the Biden administration just announced the relief they're going to give to the victims of the LA wildfires. And that relief is going to be 100% of the recovery cost for the next 180 days. So for the next 6 months, the United States federal government is going to be on the hook for 100% of every single recovery cost. They have decided that the American taxpayer is paying for everything. Meanwhile, the victims in East Palestine got a $750 loan. The victims of the Maui wildfire, $750 loan. The victims of the hurricanes all throughout the Southeast, $750 loan. And not only did we have to fight to get that money, but we also had to have FEMA representatives come out and show actual damage so we could see if we even qualified to get a $750 loan that we have to pay back. But the victims of the LA wildfires, the wildfires that were 100% preventable by the state of California, they are getting 100% of their recovery costs paid for the next half a year. Are you fucking kidding me?
It is pretty shitty. Because had they managed everything and taken care of things the way they should have with all the money they've been given in the past, we shouldn't have had this problem at all. And okay, let's say it was unpreventable. Let's say this fire was, we're going to have a fire. It should not have been at this magnitude. It should not. It shouldn't. We shouldn't be talking about what I'm talking about right now. But they didn't. Everything from DEI hire to not hiring the right firemen and firing firemen, good, strong, hardworking, experienced, knowledgeable firemen, fire people, whatever, that have been on the department for years, had to leave their jobs because they didn't want to get the old jabberini. Waste, scam, and now they're suffering for it. Now they're hiring people unqualified, and they don't even have enough people. It's a scam. Now, Adam Carolla, I love Adam Carolla. All right, I've been watching Adam Carolla for years before I ever thought I'd be sitting here doing this. He's a matter-of-fact guy. He's been around. He's been normal. He's very successful now, but he understands building and rebuilding because before he got into the entertainment industry, he was a carpenter. So he understands all this stuff. And I love Adam Carolla. I really want him on my show. One day, I want Adam Carolla on my show because he's great to talk to. It's just a matter of fact, and you can talk normal stuff, and he has a real great way of presenting the facts and speaking common sense. But here's him explaining on all the Hollywood industry people who were all Democrat liberals, libtards, backing the blue. And again, I don't care blue or red. I care about common sense. I left blue because blue have lost their minds. They're talking about stuff that is just so irrelevant to everyday living for regular people. I had to. They no longer make sense to me. They're crazy out of their minds with their just ridiculous ideas on what they are doing. So I came over to the other side because all of a sudden, the other side that I was brought up to think that they were only for the rich seem to have more common sense right now and are more democratic and thinking more of the people than the original team. Because years ago, maybe they were, but they're not anymore. And I'm smart enough to not sit on that ship just for the sake of being a Democrat. I could care less. I don't want to be either one. I hate them both. But that's how the system works. I didn't design it. So I'm flat out telling you, I can care less. But when I see something going awry, I'm not going to stay with you. It's like I got some friends and, we're all great friends and they want to rob a bank. But I don't want to rob a bank because I don't want to take that risk. I'm not going to stick with them. It's that simple. But these people, you're staying on the Titanic and, the ideology, those days are gone. Whenever you're going to realize that it's gone, vote and do what's best for you and your family and the people around you. Not by what the baloney they're shoving down your throat. And again, it'd be different. Getting in a rant now. It'd be different if they were doing something that was good, but there's a small percentage. I see you guys on here, especially on Facebook. There's a few of them, diehards. I've done better these past 4 years than I ever have, and I hate the orange man. You hate the orange man because they programmed you to hate the orange man. Most people are suffering. I judge by my wallet. How we doing? How much am I paying for gas? Cars, food. I'm so sick of spending $100 on nothing. Nothing. So screw the Democratic Party, and if the Republican Party starts messing up once they get a hold of things and make things better, I'll leave them too. The people have to vote. We make the difference. They're supposed to work for us. But it's been turned around, and we've gotten so lackadaisical that we've accepted the fact that, well, they'll just make the decisions. They know what's best for us. They'll do it. Farthest from the truth nowadays. They are trying to lead us to slaughter. And I'm coming to a point on this too. Just herds. They're going to be herding everybody, and you just kind of the worker bees. But here's Adam Carolla bitching about, okay, you made your bed. Now you're gonna lie in it because things are going to get tough over there in old Malibu and Pacific Palisades for all the wealthy who are going to rebuild or attempt to rebuild. So here you go. Enjoy.
This show, I'm in a hotel room in Burbank, California, because I had to flee for my life yesterday about 6:30 in the evening. Now, you've all heard about the Malibu fire and the Pacific Palisades fire and the Santa Monica and Pasadena. On a happy note, I guess all the Winnebagos that were parked up and down PCH where they're cooking meth out of, those things surely are gone. They'll be the first ones back. The comedy is the guys who lost their $20 million homes on the ocean side of PCH will be knee-deep in the permit process. They will be trying to pull permits when the guys in the Winnebagos will have been back for months before those guys ever get a permit. As a matter of fact, Alan Hamill and Suzanne Summers moved because they could not get a permit to rebuild their home of 40 years on the ocean on PCH. You know how Bill Maher seems real conservative now when he's like arguing with Jane Fonda about regulations, too many regulations, like strangling everything? Because remember, when Bill Maher tried to put solar in his house in Beverly Hills, that's when he turned against the government, because he saw what the government and the overreach of government and overregulation does. The people who live in Malibu, who live in Santa Monica, who live in the Palisades, those are some of the most progressive blue voters in the world, or in the United States. They are a bastion of blue. These pussies are all sitting around crying about Karen Bass, water pressure, how come the forest wasn't cleared of all the brush, what's happening with the infrastructure. You guys all voted for Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. You all voted for Gavin Newsom. And now you fucking get what you get. Oh, now that your house is on fire, well, now you're thinking about something else. You didn't give a shit about what was going on when other people's houses were on fire, but now you care. So here's what's going to happen. All these people who were deep blue Democrats are now going to have to pull a permit to rebuild. And they're going to get the 28-year-old bitch from the Coastal Commission telling them to go fuck off. And then they're going to vote for Trump or whoever's Trumpian next. You see, they're going to get turned. They're going to get turned hard because, as I've always said, live in the rent control apartment in Santa Monica, fine. Good. We know how you vote. Go deal with the city. Try to pull a permit. These are going to be thousands of homes, super wealthy people, and these people don't want to live in Van Nuys. They like it where they are. They love Malibu. They love the Palisades. They love Santa Monica. There's going to be a whole bunch of rich people, and they're going to go, I'm rebuilding, and I want to rebuild as fast as I can. And between the part where they go in to planning commission and plan check and initially and try to pull a permit to the time the first load of lumber, the first load of 2x4s is dropped off on their lot where their house formerly stood, it's going to be 3 years.
I love him. He knows. He knows exactly. And I guarantee you he's very spot on. You know? Because you would think, the rich don't care, they do what they do what they do and they stick in, but now it has bit them all in the ass. And I've said this a million times on this show with other things that are going on. You don't realize it, like let's talk about border, all the people coming over the border and the murders and robberies and rapes and the crime that is going to be infiltrating your town, USA. You haven't felt it yet, so therefore you don't care about it until it happens to you. God forbid. I don't wish this on anybody, but the problem is you need to open your eyes and realize when they're talking about this, it's real, folks. Stop listening to the current administration because they're the ones who are sabotaging this country. It's all going to change now, but man, is it going to take a long time to clean up this mess. It's a mess. So here we are, same thing. All these people, it didn't affect them. All the beautiful people in Pacific Palisades. Nice area. It's a great area. A lot of normal people there too, but it does take money to live there. You're on the coast. Anything water, if you live in different states that have coastal areas, you live on the water, it's a little more expensive. Well, it's a lot more expensive here. It's a nice area. But they all don't really care. But now it bit them in the ass. It happened to them. Don't know why, but it did. And now they're going to be upset because now they're going to have to abide by those rules that were put into place that didn't affect them, but are going to affect them now. I want Adam Carolla on my show. I love Adam Carolla. He speaks the truth. And he speaks about a lot of interesting stuff. But he tells it like it is. And thank you, Adam Carolla. Real quick, another, speaking about predicting the future, there's a guy that's I find on TikTok and Instagram and all that. His name is Beauty Mark. I guess his name is Mark. I don't know what that's all about, but he's been getting in some deep dive things. And he says he was talking about these fires a year ago. And why these fires happened? Well, we're going to start getting into all this stuff too. Call it a conspiracy, just thoughts, ideas, but it's just really kind of weird, and it'll all come together by the time this show finishes, and you'll be able to think about this. But let's listen to him and see what he's got to say about the California wildfires that burned right now over 43,000 acres, all right? And over 12,000 structures. That's a lot of displaced people and businesses, schools, 12,000. The market's going to go up, folks. Now people are going to have to rent. It's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff. Where the hell are they going to live? Where are they going to live? 12,000 structures. How many people is that? Good question. Hundreds of thousands. Anyway, here's what he has to say.
Did anybody see what Gavin Newsom just said about the wildfires in California? I tried telling everybody about this over a year ago. In an interview with Meet the Press with NBC News, this is what Gavin Newsom just said. First of all, he said very clearly, by the way, when it comes to rebuilding, that he has a team looking at reimagining LA 2.0. Also saying we're just starting to lay out. He said we're still fighting these fires, so we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders. And he said that we're talking to labor leaders. And do you know for what? Well, he said that the devastation from these fires require a rebuilding response, something that he's characterizing as a Marshall Plan for the region. But Newsom also suggested that the rebuilding efforts would be tied to the Olympics, which Los Angeles will be hosting in 2028. And if you haven't heard by now, which I've been trying to tell everybody for well over a year, like I've already mentioned, there's a certain little project that I really want everybody to look into. I've been begging people to look into this one specific project. literally right after Maui, I beg people to go look into Smart LA 2028. People called me crazy, and that's completely fine because guess what? Here we are. And did anybody see the smile on that man's face? All of this information is available to the public, by the way. Let me just make that very clear. But are you listening yet, people?
It is rather interesting how the Olympics are going to be in LA in 2028, and they have all this talk about Olympic villages and project, which I really didn't hear about because they don't talk very much about it. Now it's being talked about because now we have this opportunity. All of a sudden they have all this land that's going to be available. Smart City, Project 2028, LA Project 2028. Here we go again with the Smart City crap. Does it ring a bell? Lahaina. It's happened in Chile. Even Cancun, Mexico. All these disasters happen, and then they have all this land. Property people are going to start buying it up because people won't be able to rebuild. Let's talk about conspiracies because this is a good one. Because again, I'm really curious on this fire. I'm waiting for some more time. I mean, how, if you were having to build an Olympic village or Project 2028 that's already been on the books, it's already in paper, it's already thought of, where are they planning on doing this? Nobody's mentioned anything. Like, nobody said like a different area. Los Angeles is a big place. You can do things anywhere. But all of a sudden now it's going to be right there. What a fortunate opportunity. It's like but you would think if they got all these plans in place, they must have had location in place too. You'd have to, because 2028 is right around the corner. That's 3 years from now. So where was their plans before? But all of a sudden now we have this opportunity. Everything's gone. It's a whole city. It's not the city of Los Angeles. It's the city of Pacific Palisades and Malibu and all that. Believe me, it's plenty big enough. It's big. It's the size of Manhattan. Bigger than the size of Manhattan. Go figure that one out. And all of a sudden, now they say, but I know it's tragic, but I got great news for you. I think we have a great plan to rebuild, and this is what we're going to do. Just happen to have it in my back pocket. So I'm going to talk conspiracies because this is truth. Something's up. Something's up. They don't care about us. They don't care about even obviously they don't even care about the rich. Doesn't matter. But here, let's listen to this guy for a minute.
I think the craziest and the saddest part about the fires in Los Angeles is the timing of everything. A lot of people are saying they lost their insurance not too long before the fires. Just take a look at what James Woods says. He says in his neighborhood, about 4 months before the fire, one major insurance company canceled all the policies in his neighborhood. Just take a look at this picture of Pacific Palisades. Average cost of a home there is $3.4 million. Now, how about the timing of the cut of the fire department's budget? They cut more than $17.5 million about 7 months before these fires started from the fire department. And they were saying that they were severely understaffed and they didn't have enough resources to fight these fires. And then the $1 million question comes around. How the heck did these fires even start? And there are hundreds of conspiracies circulating around social media. But I have a question, and a lot of people have this question too, because I saw a lot of videos saying the same thing. It got so hot that the people who abandoned their cars, it started melting. Like the metal started melting down the street, but the trees around these cars looked fine. How is that even possible?
How is it possible? This takes me right back to Lahaina again. I did many shows on that fire because I still, to this day, and there's people that live there that know it was not normal. Was not normal. Cars burned and melted. I'm looking at what I can catch on the news. I'm trying to gather this information. All the glass is gone in all the cars. I don't know if it's broken out or melted out. But again, I was looking to see how badly the metal has melted. the rims. I know they're alloy wheels, but still it has to be a certain temperature to do that. But tell me how, and I saw several pictures that there's a group of cars and they're just gone. They're shot. But there's a big giant tree with lots of shrubbery and it's like right above them, on them, and the tree is fine. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm not going to talk about that stuff personally yet until I gather more information, because I don't believe that this is just normal. I just don't. I know fires start. I get that part. The fact that they weren't prepared, and in the defense of the insurance companies, I hate insurance companies. They're in the business to make money. They don't want to pay out. And I had this argument with somebody, not an argument, but discussion. Insurance companies are in business to profit, obviously. Imagine if they didn't cancel all those policies, let's say State Farm for one, and they had to pay out on 8,000 properties right there, and knowing there's more. They wouldn't be able to do it. They won't be able to do it. Now, the fact that they canceled months before, I was told, they're looking at the same statistics that we're talking about right now. California has not managed the forestry around them very well. And they look at things, the fire hazards. Well, what's the area look like? How likely is it possible to go up in flames? If it does, how long will it take to go up in flames? All these things. And they're gambling. They're gambling that they're going to take your money every year, every month, and not have to pay it out. And if I was gambling on something, I'd want a sure bet. At least, you play to win. And the fact that they're going and they send people out there and they go, they haven't done nothing. They haven't cleaned up their forestries. They haven't done it. The insurance companies are going, too risky. We're done. Not worth it. Same thing unfortunately with hurricanes and things like that. But it's a whole different story like that. This is preventable stuff. Stuff that they were given $1 gazillion to use for resources to take care of things, to not have this incident. The hurricanes are a little different. That's a storm. You can't lessen the storm, except for the geoengineering and weather, which is another show. I can talk about so much stuff. There's so much stuff that is real that people think is crazy talk. This is the 21st century. These are things that they've been manipulating and screwing with. Let's get ready to use harsh language. Screwing with since the 60s and beyond, even actually back more. Spraying in the air. We'll be talking about all this stuff this year, folks. I'm not, because it's our health. It's our well-being. I want to live to be a ripe old age. I'm seeing people dropping like flies now, especially since the old Vaxxerini, that are too young to be gone, and it shouldn't be happening. And all this stuff's going to come out. It's all going to come out. Regardless of, the people who are responsible for it. What's the damage is done now. But the thing is, they could have prevented this stuff. And now I'm thinking, how did this fire actually start? And is there actually a different reasoning behind it? All of a sudden it's like, hey, this looks like a great place for Project LA, Smart City 2028. They didn't have another spot, for it before. All of a sudden now Newsom comes out smiling. He's the biggest piece of shit. I think he's got to be the worst governor besides Chicago. Besides, there's a few, but he's got to be one of the slickest, slithery snake. When you see the snake in the Garden of Eden in the Bible, that's him right there. He figures, we'll keep that money, we'll spend it, and then something goes wrong, we'll have it under control, but we'll get money from the federal government because he has everybody in his pocket. He's got Shifty Shift, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Aunt Nancy. They all have to go. It's corrupt, people. It's corrupt. They're not doing you, me, or anybody else any favors. And it's our money. Whether you pay $10 in taxes or $10 million in taxes. $10 to you, if that's all you're paying, it's money. It's money that you can use. Here's another little conspiracy theory. But again, just take all this with a grain of salt and keep it in the back of your head.
Well, it seems it's about that time again. Time I go patent hunting, because every time there's something big in the news, I seem to find a patent. And I don't know if you've seen this picture or this video. Or this video where things from the other fire west of LA, the blue things didn't seem to want to burn. None of them. Which brings us to this video, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, where a certain color doesn't seem to be impacted by that directed light. Which brings us to US patent number 103378. You can see the rest, but click on it, and what do we have? I'm not even going to say it up there, but you can read, and you can click, and you can read, and you can scroll. Go look for yourself. I'll tell you one thing I probably know for sure, though, is I bet a lot of the elites in that area, I bet none of them lost their lives. I bet they had some advanced warning of what was coming. But of course, all this is just speculation and satire, and I don't even know if that is CGI, AI, or what, but if I were you, I'd use my noggin and research more myself. Entertainment only, of course.
Now, I don't want to go into, the whole thing. It's like laser weapons and this and that, but they do exist, folks. And I'm telling you, Lahaina, yes, it was windy, but how the hell do you burn a dozen boats 200 feet offshore and all of them just go and burn to hell? It doesn't make sense. And these weapons exist. They have laser weapons on our battleships now. They have them mounted to planes. Move it any way you want. Like your security cameras with the ball, and then you can move it with your finger and aim it. These things on these planes can shoot 60 miles away in the blink of an eye and eviscerate its target. Now, they're not blatantly coming out and telling you all their secret weapons. I mean, in the 80s, it was Project Star Wars from satellites having that same thing. If you don't think this stuff exists, it's there. They just don't want you to know it's there because it's a secret weapon. I'm not saying it happened there. I got to take in more information, but I question everything, because if they want to do this smart city stuff, they have to get rid of a lot of things, and they can't do it nicely because nobody will pack up and sell and say, yeah, we want these smart cities, which are, it's going to be criminal what they want to do. But here's another one. I don't think I played this one. If I did, I'll stop it. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
I've noticed something a bit strange about these LA fires everyone's been tagging me in. The first weird thing that I noticed is that insurance companies dropped fire coverage 3 months before the fire started. And many people have reported electrical wires from the power grid causing these fires. And of course, the water supply has been cut off. And don't you think it's a bit weird in this picture that all of the trees stay standing but the houses aren't? Of course, this is for educational purposes only, and I'm not claiming anything. And then we go to Google and type in 2028 Smart LA City. What a coincidence they want to build a smart city in LA. And of course, it's a lot easier to build a whole city if there's no buildings there. Of course, this is just for educational purposes only, and I hope everyone is safe over there. Thank you.
Again, how can you have it Smart City 2028 already proposed and already, on the books if you haven't started yet? I mean, 2028 is 3 years away. You have to have some kind of plan to do something somewhere in LA. And they didn't speak of any certain place up until 2 or 3 days ago. We got a great idea. They've had that great idea, not so great idea. Same thing with Maui, Lahaina, smart cities. People can't afford to hold on to that land now. So all of a sudden, the phones are ringing off the bat. Property buyers, people want to, I'll pay you handsomely for that property. They buy it all up, they create the whole thing, and then boom, you got your little jail of a jungle that they're going to claim is going to be the greatest thing in the world. But we'll get into that some more. Just food for thought. That's all I'm telling you. Food for thought. How does this happen to be all these coincidences? How? I realize that fires, there's natural fires and this and that, but these days, nothing adds up. Just doesn't. Here's Gavin Newsom himself explaining his brilliant new idea of Smart City LA 2028 that he just happens to have available and ready to go right before the Olympics, and which will change the face of that coastline over there forever. Not necessarily in a good way, although if you ask him, he's all happy and smiles about it. He's giddy like a little schoolgirl about this shit. He's a piece of crap. He's the worst. Here you go.
All of that and all that opportunity and that pride and spirit that comes from not just hosting those 3 iconic games and venues, but also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team of looking and reimagining LA 2.0, and we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here that were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan?
For
Tell
this
us about
region,
this Marshall
we're just
Plan.
starting to lay out. I mean, we're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders. We're starting to organize how we can put together a collection of individuals on philanthropy for recovery, how we can organize the region, how we can make sure that we are seeking federal assistance for the Olympics more broadly, but also federal assistance for the recovery efforts, and how we can galvanize the community with folks that love this community to really develop a mindset so that at scale we're dealing with the scope of this tragedy and responding to it at scale with efficiency like the executive order I talked about, time value of delivering projects, addressing building codes, addressing permitting issues, and moving forward to rebuilding and being more resilient.
He just aggravates the shit out of me. Hang on. Oh. Make no mistake, people. They didn't, within the past 4 days, just have a bright idea and put all of this on paper and have it, like even the picture of the new LA look and all that. Nobody just got up 4 days ago and just came up with this idea and went to work at the drawing board and put it all together and handed it to him. It's like this stuff has been on the books in the dark room, in the back room, coercing for years, waiting for that opportune moment. Takes time to disassemble, and break down the system until they finally resort to the ultimate of just destroying everything in a certain area. It's a tragedy. We're really sorry. But don't worry, we're going to make it better. Just like the government. Don't worry. We're the government and we're here to help. Scariest thing. I never realized it. Never realized it. It shouldn't be this way. I am praying that life is going to turn around and these people are going to be eradicated and gone. But here's a little more information from somebody speaking about the World Economic Forum. All those assholes. They're the devils. Carl Schwab and whatever the hell his name is, and Soros and all these arrogant gazillionaires. They're the ones. And they're not anybody. They just decided to make this, create this organization all on their own. There's only a few thousand of them. They're not that big in people. We can easily stop this if we all stick together and say enough. But you have to be awake and you have to speak your mind, because if you don't speak your mind, doom is going to be knocking on your door after it's too late. But listen to this. And again, this is the truth. This stuff is all out there. While they brainwashed you into worrying about the Orange Man and Agenda 2025, which is the farthest from the truth, which he gave nothing and no knowledge about. Again, just some people who throw around radical ideas, but they pinned it on the Orange Man. While they're getting you to believe that stuff and pay attention to that, there's a real threat, and it's called Agenda 2030. And here's a little bit about it.
The 15-minute cities is something that the WEF has created called C40. And it's called C40 Cities. I would urge you to certainly look on the internet about it. Basically, you won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car anymore. You'll have to buy electric. If you want food, you will get a calorie-controlled system sent to you by text saying, this is what you can eat today. This is what you can have today. If you violate any of these things, They'll freeze your bank account. That is the next step. These are stages in which they're going to implement this stuff. And this was signed up by the WEF, and the WEF has signed up with our mayor in London as the chair. And he has gone around the world to communicate this C40 to all of the countries in the world. And most of the countries are looking at adopting it. Now, I am going to abolish it. It is a hopeless position. We are going to be in an open prison, or shall we say a COVID, for the rest of our lives. We will not be able to work unless it's in our 15-minute city. It's diabolical. It's not a right. This is not the right thing. And it's been hidden from the public. No one's talking about it.
Of course nobody's talking about it, because they're just implementing it one drip at a time, taking away our freedoms. One hair, I said it a bunch, pulling out one hair on your head, little by little. You don't feel it. You don't realize it until one day you wake up and you're bald. And that's what they're doing. It's the only metaphor I've got for right now. I want to talk about one last idiotic thing about this California fire. Oregon, the state of Oregon, sent down 60 fire trucks. Now, they sent them down here once we needed more resources. So it's like, all right, hurry up. We need resources. 60 fire trucks. The state of California wouldn't let those fire trucks in until they passed a state safety inspection. At first, the report was that they weren't California emission fire trucks. This is the idiocracy of our state, folks. The place is burning to the damn ground. People are dying. And it's like, no, we can't let those fire trucks in. They need a safety inspection first, which on average took about 45 minutes to an hour per truck if there was nothing wrong with them. While meanwhile, within an hour, fires can go miles and ravage dozens and dozens of things. How does that sound? Is that the smart thing to do to make sure that the truck's brakes were okay? Which normally when you have government, truck things like that, they go through their own safety anyway. And if there was a sporadic thing that was wrong with something, okay, it happens. But I think I'd rather take that risk worrying about that truck's brakes to get somebody down here to help put out the fire to save my house than holding them up at the state line until it passed inspection. Welcome to California. And this is a small example of how they're clamping us down. Don't drive gas cars anymore. Let's drive the price of gasoline up to where people can't afford it. And then we don't have enough electricity to charge the cars as it is. And then they'll just start jacking up electricity rates. Electricity is not free. This is what we're living in, people. And you have to wake up, open your eyes. Again, don't have to believe everything I'm telling you. I'm putting it out there for you to decide. I will not dislike you or like you any more or less. You can, believe me, I get my share of name calling. And I don't care. I don't care. If you're that blind, fine. Live your life. As was put to me, everyone has their own journey, whatever that is. Well, mine is now to help enlighten you about everything. Be happy. Live a good life. Try to. But it's hard when you're broke and they're clamping down and taking away your freedoms. Speak up. Wake up. For you and your family's own good. One last thing here. The Appalachia, the hurricane that went through someplace that it normally should never go, and floods that they've never should have. Again, I'm not saying it's weather manipulation, but I'm saying it's weather manipulation. For whatever the reasons, there's some things over there that are very desirable, like lithium and things like that too. Very odd. They got wiped out. You think that they are giving as much attention to those poor people in the Carolinas, and they got winter and they're in snow in tents right now as they are for California? Hell no. I'll help you out. Hell no. Because we got Gavin Newsom here and Nancy Pelosi, and that's all because it's all for them. Don't care. But listen to this guy. Because even though this tragedy, he still wishes and feels for the people of California, which are innocent people.
Today is January 10th, 2025. I'm going to start this video out by saying that we're praying for California. We've had several people make the trip across coast to come volunteer here with us with Valley Strong Disaster Relief. I'll be the very first to admit that before September 27th, I would see a natural disaster and I would think, oh, that sucks. Then I would go on about my life. That's because I'd never been affected by it. My mindset has completely changed since Hurricane Helene, and I'll spend the rest of my life being involved in some sort of storm relief and trying to pay back the hearts of the volunteers and to help the victims. This morning I saw a post made by the leader of the free world. He said that he was announcing that the federal government would cover 100% of the cost of measures to protect the lives and property in Southern California for the next 6 months. He told the governor and officials to spare no expense and do whatever they need to contain the fires and protect families. I hope that happens. I wouldn't wish what happened here on anybody, not even my worst enemy. What about Appalachia? We are 105 days in since one of the most devastating storms known to mankind. We are still supplying our own campers and shelters while paying mortgages on piles of rubble. We are still running our own supply hubs with phase 1 items to many people that lost everything, including their homes and their jobs. We still have bridges out. Only 4% of the debris has been picked up. You heard that right, 4%. Many businesses are bankrupt with insurance denying their claim. We have a polar vortex slamming western North Carolina while people are going through 10 gallons of propane a night, wondering where they're going to get their next tank. Every single thing that we the people have done for relief efforts so far has been nothing but a mere band-aid to stabilize our communities until proper help arrives. So with all that being said, I hope LA does get fixed. In the meantime, we'll be right here fighting for each other. But when you're done there, don't forget about the backbone of America. Don't forget about Appalachia. Our taxes are paid too.
The sad truth. He spoke the truth. Again, if it doesn't affect you, you don't realize how harmful and the depth of what's really going on. A lot of people live in these just rose-colored glasses until it affects you. I am going to keep my eye on this even when this is over. The wind should calm down by tomorrow morning, so they say. We should have about 4 or 5 days of calm weather, so they say, before the winds pick up again, so they say. Hopefully the fire departments and everything will get a grip on everything within the next 4 days now that we have more resources. You know, everybody's gathered in the plains, and thank God for all these things, but the damage is done. The damage was the first day or two before. They weren't ready. They weren't ready. And it's not the fire department's fault. It's the people who make the judgment calls. They all need to be gone. It's irreplaceable. People have lost everything. Everything. I can't even imagine. Never mind the house, but the one thing you have from your family, memories, gone. And they won't even let you go back in there because now it's toxic. They want to do like Lahaina, clean it all up. You can't go in there. I'm going to be paying attention to this because things don't smell right to me still. And if they're not, I'm going to stay on this subject. On and off, here and there. I will find more people to talk about it personally and talk what's going on. If it was just a tragic accident, well, then it'll be a tragic accident and I'll let it go. But it just seems kind of odd on all of a sudden, hey, we're in luck. I know everything burned down, but we just happen to have a plan for 2028, a whole new vision, a whole new city. It's like if you had that plan for 2028, you should have been started on it already. But I guess they chose this was the time to start, and that was the place to start it at. But they're not going to tell you that because it's all diabolical. Again, they're evil. I love you guys. I want to remind you next week, God willing, nothing happens because I don't trust anybody because, again, they're still not going to go down without kicking and screaming. We should have a new president in office next Monday, January 20th. I will be here on Wednesday January 22nd, to talk about the inauguration, and hopefully everything goes smoothly and they don't try to kill him still. Because I'm telling you, even when he's in office, I don't put anything past anybody. I'm in fear for that man's life because he is going to expose and ruin the whole dark side's game. And they are not going to go down easy because he's ruined the 2030 agenda. All these people, they're going to be wiped off the map. I mean, we're going to just shove them and go away, thanks to the Orange Man, if he can stay in office and continue to do what he says he's going to do. We don't need no WEF. We don't need a WHO, and we don't even need the United Nations. They're not doing anything for us. They're not. It's all gone corrupt, folks. The day you start realizing that and accept it and start looking around and seeing what's really going on is the day your life will be changing, that we could all get united. Because I just can't, I mean, I'm not going to not like you. It doesn't matter. That doesn't affect my relationship. It might affect yours with me. It has. I get called all kinds of names by people who don't even know me. They judge by what they see on a 1.5-minute clip, short clip. They don't hear the whole show to really get the gist of things on how things were based on for the show. But that's okay. Can't please everybody. But we do need to be united. We need to be united. And I think the only thing that's going to unite us is that we all want a great country. We want a great world. We want happiness, prosperity. When everybody's making money, believe me, everybody's happy. When you can feed your kids and you can go do something fun and not like, I don't have the money for it. I don't have the money to repair my car. Can't buy a house. It's sad. We'll be continuing to talk about this stuff. United we stand, divided. United we stand, divided we fall. It's that simple. So please, take what I say. Don't have to believe it. Keep it in the back of your head, but get off your butt and do a little bit of searching around. I might actually be bringing you something worth of value. If not. Again, you can't please everybody. My name is Peter G. I want to thank you for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday like clockwork. 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And definitely, God willing, still got a little more hell to go through with these winds. But hopefully we'll see you here unharmed next week. I was just praying that our electricity wouldn't get turned off. And so far, so good. So I'm grateful for that. But I also want to remind you, life is short. Life is really short. And there's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. People are struggling. And when you're struggling and you got the stress of everything, you snap. Try to take a deep breath. Try to take a deep breath and breathe. We're all here for a reason. If you're still here, you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. All right? Let's move forward together. Let's try to be patient with one another. You don't have to take a lot of crap from people, but you don't have to be an ass either. We don't need that. Okay? Life is too damn short. So just be kind. All right? I love you guys. I truly do. I say that, and I mean that. It's all good. I'll see you guys next week. My name is Peter G. Thanks for watching Life of Peter G. Please, please, please share, subscribe, follow, please. Please. I said please. It's not that hard. It's free. Just hit the button. How much effort is that? Hit the button. Follow. All right? See you next week. I love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, Divorce Dad.